Alright, yo, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3STACK in this thing, baby, representing Team Kings of Games. So I'm going to be showcasing you guys a competitive duel, but I want to do more of these. This is a really good idea. I want to play past formats with good players. So what I ended up doing was I had like a money match against Dominic Couch. I had to look up who he was, and then I got a better understanding. I'm like, oh, this guy's nice, like he tops, like I've seen, like, I basically looked him up, and like he's topped so many times with a variety of different decks, and like he's a known player. So I'm like, all right, Gucci. And he just posted, like, in Luxury Gaming, that he wanted to play 2019 Nash format for money. As soon as I saw 2019 Nat format, I was like, oh, bet, I'll definitely play you, because I already know what deck I'm going to play. And if you guys have followed me for at least a year, we're really a little bit longer than that, because it was like June last year, you guys would know that I pretty much tailored and really made it like a trend to play Pendulum ORCUST. So I refined my list, and I played basically a combination of Zephyrs, Mythical Beasts, Endymion, Pendulum Magicians, ORCUST, and then like Guard Dragons, which is just like a compilation of like 60 cards. Really, it's a 60 card deck, and it was really fun. I got to enjoy like playing that deck again, because I really missed it, and I hadn't played it since like Nationals last year, and it felt like a long time ago for me, like at that time. So you guys are gonna see in this format, at that time, Mermaid was legal, Guard Dragon Agripane was legal, Electromite was legal, and Servant of Endymion was at 3, and Into the Void was at 3. So there's huge difference of Pendulums back then versus now, because of all that you could play that raised your ceiling. So we're gonna get right into this. This is like a throwback. Anyone that's been following me, you guys already know. When I was playing Pendulum ORCUST, it's like, bro, I felt unstoppable. Like, I feel like I just couldn't lose. And I did beat him, but we did go to game 3. So I'm gonna go to duel records, and I'm just gonna pop that replay. So hopefully, quality and everything Gucci. So replay couch. I don't play on Dueling Book really that often, but I did hop on to test like Dragon Maids though. Like just rogue build Dragon that has no Guard Dragons. So I'm just gonna press this replay. You see, he asked me, he was like 2019 Nats. I was like, yeah, because I was a foreman. I won the dice roll. I'm going first. And back in this time when I played this list, the cards I was talking about, I was legal, Serpent at 3, Guard Dragons, ORCUST. When I won the dice roll, it was like, bro, you might as well just scoop. So I pressed pause. So his opening hand has no hand traps, but he does have like gas. He has Engage, that based negate. He has Heart Pourer. He has Nightmare Corruptor Ibli, so that's a 1-card Nightmare Mermaid, and you discard Mermaid. So you could summon Mermaid and then discard Heart Pourer for cost. He has Corbane, also he has Instant Fusion, so this baits in negate, this baits in negate, this baits in negate, and then what is he top decking into? I don't want to see. So like, if he's playing against average combo deck, like let's say maybe like Danger Thunder Guard Dragons, he might have a chance. I'm not saying he would, literally, like, it's just like, but like he might if he's playing like a different combo deck. But like, this is not gonna bait and negate, nor is this, nor is Instant Fusion. In fact, everything in his hand by the end of my turn is gonna be dead, except for maybe the Engage and the Corbane, but everything else he's not gonna be able to use. You guys will see how I played out my hand. So as you see, I opened both Servant and Mastery. Back in that time when she was at 3, you actually got to see Servant and Mastery pretty often. And it's one of the best feelings ever with this deck, because this is a 1-card 3 spell counters for Servant. You search your Magister, and like, it's so uphill from there. It's a very uphill battle. So my hand already plays through hand traps. So if he did have a couple hand traps, it wouldn't matter. And Nibiru did not exist for 2019 Nationals format. Like, it just wasn't around. Like, Phantasme was that dude though. So you guys are gonna see. I'm just gonna fast forward a little bit on my plays. I'm gonna scale Servant, go Mastery for Magister. I'm going to then activate my Magister. Attempt Servant, remove for cost, didn't stop it. I summoned Jackal King just to play it safe for any hand traps, because back then the only hand trap that this didn't care about, that this didn't stop, was Imperm. But if he Imperms Electromite, it's actually still going to be okay. I can combo through that, which is really easy. I can still put up a lot of negates. The only difference is, because I don't have access to a Dragon monster right now, I can't do my Guard Dragon combo, which means I can't lock him out as. So all it means is I'm going to put up like Counter Trap, ORCUST combo, like Jackal King and Resolve Magister. Like, it's still, my hand is just crazy. Like, this deck in its prime, like, this was my deck, dude. This was like my go-to. This deck was gas. I was just so confident. I didn't care what I was playing against, man. Like, it was just that good. So I'm using Electromite to actually sit in Dark Form because I haven't seen access to him yet. And I value the Guard Dragon combo because it gives me basically Guard Dragon combo with an extra body is 3 interruptions by itself. And as you see, I pop Abductor and add her. So that way I can activate her again. And I put a third counter on Magister because if you look at my extra deck, I can both Pendulum Summon Dark Worm and Black Fang. So I decided to just pop and add my load, draw a card to discard from my ORCUST combo and load Magister with his third counter. Well, he got a second off this, then his third off Oracle. And I'm just going to Oracle for Zephyr Neo since I already have my high scale. Fast forward. And you guys are about to see this happen now. So I'm just going to pin out all of these. I'm going to Chainlink 1 Neo, Chainlink 2 Dark Worm, grab Gate. I don't know why he didn't scoop. But you know what? Honestly, if I didn't lock him out of his extra deck, maybe he would have stood a chance. Who knows? Because he did have a way to bait like 1. You know, because like when you activate Engage, it's like kind of hard to just like not negate that card because sometimes like your opponent's playing actual Sky Strikers and they just grab Ray and they normal Ray, and Ray's gonna bait 2 negates because like she's gonna bait out Jackal King then tag back out from Grave because like you're gonna go into a Sky Striker link like Hayate, attack directly, and your opponent's not gonna want to let you dump, so they're gonna negate it and then Ray tags back out and then she could just go into another link, and like that becomes problematic. So like this card technically can bait a negate, as well as normal summoning Ibli, going straight into Mermaid, discarding card for cost. If I negate Mermaid, so this baits 2 negates, that baits a third negate, this could bait 4. So if I put up 4 negates, he could probably play through it. I don't know what he's top decking. Oh, he's top decking another Instant Fusion? I don't know. But my combo is just way too strong. And you guys will see, as I'm comboing off, I was very mindful of this format, remembering that Super Poly was kind of a thing. So I also not only set up my board with a bunch of negates and counter traps, which is super strong, but I also set up a way to where I don't lose to Super Poly or like anything of that nature. And on top of all these negates, just locking my opponent out of their extra deck and being able to protect my Morphage was the ideal play that I made. That's what got me a lot of games back in that time. You guys see I ORCUST combo. I resolved Guard Dragon and ORCUST combo with the Jackal King there the whole time, so I was protected, which was like why I left. I was thinking about getting greedy and using Magister's effect, but I decided to leave Magister in scale because Magister is a huge follow-up for my push if I need a push, but normally you already have lethal on board. But just in case, like, it's going to put a lot of pressure on my opponent where he has to OTK me, because my follow-ups with this deck, this was like a Pendulum combo deck that would put up a pretty much nearly unbreakable board. Not impossible, but very hard to break, like nearly impossible. And then on top of that, you would have follow-ups from your ORCUST cards having like either Heart Pourer and Skeletor, or Skeletor and Nightmare, 2 ORCUST cards in rotation plus Ding and Grave, a follow-up off Crescendo, and you normally have follow-ups in your scales. When you put up Magister, you would use Mighty Master and Endymion to bounce him back to hand so you have a high scale to play. This deck was so skillful. It was so good. I would get hand trapped 2-3 times and I would just ORCUST combo, you know, get my Zephyr counter trap, get my ORCUST counter trap, and I would just sit like that. And you know, my opponent would be playing like with 2 or 3 cards, playing through 2 negates. This deck was so busted, you guys. I really missed this deck. So I'm so happy it was the 2019 format. That's what really made me want to play him. So I go Dean, I attach the Skeletor, side Skeletor, and Nightmare and Grave. And then finally at the end, I Providence for 9 Divine Strike. I don't know why he didn't, because like honestly, I think, like again, I think he was thinking he was going to use his extra deck, so I wait for him to get into his standby phase. So he drew into a Crescendo, which isn't going to help him. So in standby phase, I'm going to activate Heretic. The reason why I do that is because not only does it play around Super Poly, but you guys have to remember that Instant Fusion was at 3 in that time, and Instant Fusion by itself could bait one of your negates. So by locking my opponent out of his extra deck in his standby phase, he doesn't get main phase priority to like just style with like a Super Poly or anything of that nature. You know what I mean? So like it's really good. And for like going second decks, I played like Vishuda. I think there's like this ORCUST list, if I'm not mistaken, that played like Vishuda and other cards like that. So what I did was really smart because I basically locked him out of his extra deck in his standby phase. So I said Tribute Heretic for cost. What I did was bounce my Oracle so I could put a third counter on Abductor, and now I can resolve both Magister and Abductor next turn. So you guys see my follow-ups here are just insane. Like they're so insane. This was the same deck I dueled against Triff with too, and honestly, I ended up losing in Game 7 because I drew a bunch of Morphage cards. I was like oversiding at that time, but like the games where I just opened normal, he couldn't break my board, and the games when he opened normal, I just really couldn't break his board. That's how this deck was. It was really one-sided sometimes. Like Spear Mode just wasn't enough back then. So I summoned Sloth on his standby, and I think he's just gonna like set those 3 and pass. He shouldn't have done that though, because when he set 3 and passed, my idea was to now just side deck Dinko Sekas or evenly matched or Pankratops. If I was him, I would have just scooped off the rip, so that way I don't even know that like he's playing back rows at all. Because when you set 3, even if you are playing combo, the fact that you have 3 cards to set gives me an indication on how I need a side deck. So I didn't waste any time. I didn't try to flex. I just went straight to battle phase. I wasn't scared of like anything because I had double counter trap plus vortex. So there was like nothing he could do. Even if he had 1 counter trap, I had a second one for his 1. And like these were all blinks anyways. Like these weren't gonna do anything. I think he was just trying to see if I would like how far I would go, you know. But I just like I didn't waste any time. I just went straight to battle phase. He's like, okay, and then he scooped. Honestly, he should have scooped a long time ago. So now I'm just gonna fast forward. So my hand was really unfortunate going second. So I'm gonna pause. So press play. Not only did I only open 1 starter, but I opened double Pankratops, and I'm getting ready to top deck in an Orcust Nightmare. So technically speaking, if he didn't have like double Eradicator, so he really stacked me right here. Luckily, I only had 1 spell anyways, but he really stacked me big time with the double Eradicator. Like if I was able to have my spells, at least Pin Call, discarding Orcust Nightmare, plus having Cerberus and Pankratops, all of those interactions bait negates, and I could technically speaking OTK him with Cerb, Pankratops, and just the Orcust combo itself, because I do have a normal summon of Purple Poison and the discard for cost. Well, never mind, because I'll be drawing Nightmare. So like my hand was pretty nice, even though it was weird. It had a way to push, but he really sacked me hard with the double Eradicator. So you guys already know who won this game. Fast forward. He's gonna grab Hornet, and what he's gonna do is Orcust combo. And back then, you could really combo safely because Nibiru didn't exist. So a deck like Orcust that didn't really have a way to play around Nibiru except with Nightmare Corrupt or Ibli. A lot of people weren't on that card at first. They said it was bad, and then when they realized it was that good, then they're like, oh, now it's good. You know, same people that said it was bad, but like without Nightmare Corrupt or Ibli, Orcust couldn't really play around Nibiru. So you guys see, this is a standard Orcust combo. And also keep in mind that Rusty Bardiche was legal, so the Orcust combo packed a huge punch back then, because that one combo just got you so much interrupts, and not only were they interrupts, they were follow-ups, and you got to interact a lot on your opponent's turn, and set yourself up for your turn using Galatea via Babel to set cards like Crescendo and Return, which is just so powerful. So this is like Orcust in their prime. I think the only thing probably was the quick play was banned, either that or like Azathoth, something like that, I'm not sure. I just see he has Fogblade, and Eradicator. So he has double Fogblade, double Eradicator. I'm unfortunately not going to be able to play through that because he also has a Ding to Send. And not only does he have Ding to Send, but if he kept his Rusty, he could have summoned Ding to Rusty Zone, got a pop and a Send. So I tried my best. I tried to use Serb. He's going to chain a second Eradicator. I know him purple. He's going to use Ding to Send, and I chain Pankratops to pop Ding. Then he's going to send my purple, and I just go in phase. Then it froze. So I just admitted defeat. I was really far behind anyways. He did have follow-ups, and I don't know what I was going to draw into that was going to help, because I was still under Eradicator, so that means I have to draw like Pendulum cards. I mean, I had Pankratops, which was nice, but I just gave up, you know, and it did freeze too, so I'm just going to fast forward. He even said, but like I obviously have game. I'm like, alright, cool, I admitted defeat because it froze. Like he said he couldn't touch his cards, which is kind of weird. But I guess that happens on DB occasionally. I'm not sure. I don't really play DB like that. I play more on Edo, just because like Edo makes it easier to grind and get multiples. Because when things are automatic, you can breeze through your duels, but when things are manual, duels take longer because you have to click everything and rearrange your cards, everything. So we're siding. I finished siding. I sided in my Morph with the lechery, so that way I could lock him out of his extra deck and prevent him from activating spells. So that way Mind Control would be dead, because Mind Control is a card. Mystic Mind did. So my lock that I put in. By the way, this duel was like pretty. What's the word I'm trying to think of? Pretty underwhelming, because he just gave up the moment he saw Servant and Mastery. He just gave up, and I couldn't rematch him then. Because like my baby needed to eat, and then you know it was kind of time to go for that, just for that moment. Not like I literally was incapable of, but just for that time being I had to go. So we are gonna rematch, but as you guys see, my hand was insane again. His hand was like, this could bait a counter trap, and this is Orcust combo, discard heart for cost, but his hand's pretty much dead because that's the way I really enjoyed my pendulums. Like, one of the strongest thing about it was it wasn't just 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 interruptions. It was those backed up with a Morphage Sloth that had Dean Gearsu protection from like any kind of card that would destroy it. And then on top of that, I would scale a Morphage Lechery because Electromite was legal. So you would just like pin. So you would do your combo where you pin summon first, and then you would pop your high scale or your low scale, grab Lechery, because that's what you do when your hand's good. Sometimes you can't, so then you can't grab Lechery. But when your hand's insane, like this kind of hand, like, yeah, you could just grab Lechery, because you're already going to get the skills you need, and you have access to Dark Worm. You know, you have access to your Pendulum Magicians. Since the ORCUST combo already gives you a counter trap, you don't have to go into the Zephyr cards, because you just do that mainly for a counter trap, so that you can play around Spear Mode, because Spear Mode was really popular back then, and Lava Golem and Kaijus. But this hand already is going to get like counter trap, Guard Dragon combo. It's going to set up the ORCUST combo. And since the hand's nice, I basically could use Electromite, and I could just send the Lechery if I really wanted to. So what that does is I just go standby, shotgun my Sphere. So he starts his turn unable to activate spells, unable to activate access his extra deck, and he's not going to be able to really break the board. It's really, really, really hard, you know. I know Dragunities can do that right now, but I was doing this in like June 2019, you know, May 2019, like March, you know, April. I was doing this for a while, so I've been on the Amorphage lock. I think before Dragunity players were even doing it, because they weren't able to do it before, I was already on that. In fact, I even side decked Zombie World for Spear Mode. And I also tried different stuff with like Planet Pathfinder to search my field spells. I played OG Thunder Dragon so I could summon Colossuses. I did a lot with this deck back in the day. It was all really, really innovative, and it did help, but ultimately the list that I have right now was probably the most consistent and least situational of all. The ORCUST cards were really just a backup plan if you got hand trapped too much, but they also became integrated main part of my combo. I'm really talking, but like he's gonna scoop, so you know that's the duel anyways. That's why I'm talking. But and as you can see, I told him I can't play again right now. You know, I got to feed my kid. My wife's waiting for me. Just let me know when you're free again. And I left. So like yeah, like I was saying, like it was just really, really strong. You know, it's really powerful, really impressive, and just having that Dean Gearsu protection. Like, Dean Protect was so good. Because, like, even when you didn't have Lechery, when Sky Strikers would try to activate Afterburners, you would just detach from Dean Gearsu instead. When they try to Jamming Waves or Counter Traps, you would just detach from Dean Gearsu instead. So it also meant Pankratops didn't bait any negates, because Pankratops would declare an attack, you detach from Dean, he would tribute his effect, himself to pop, you would detach from Dean. So when I left Dean Gearsu on my boards, it also made me not even have to waste negates on certain cards. His hand was going to be nice, but he definitely was not going to be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! So it didn't really matter, you know. So yeah, you guys, that's the duel. Let me know what you guys think. I know 2019 format's gone, but honestly, when you guys really go back to look at how powerful Pendulums were at that time, they were like the epitome of like what a combo deck is. Like how Adamanticators are now, I really do not believe that Adamanticators can do what Pendulums did back then. I know Pendulums are kind of watered down now, but honestly, because they lost a lot. Adamanticators have full power. They have all their cards at 3. They have Block Dragon at 3. Pendulums have 1 Servant, no Electromite. You know, they have the Guard Dragons are gone now. The ORCUST cards are gone. You know, like Skullcrobat Joker's banned. Astrograph Sorcerer's banned. Pendulums have taken a lot of hits. You know, even Joker. It's like all these cards that were really good in Pendulum are hit. Pendulums have been hit on the ban list a lot, and I mean a lot of times. So like it's a shell of its former self, but I definitely feel that Pendulums in their prime compared to Adamants just cannot put up the board that Pendulums can put up. Especially if you play my list, Adamanticators will put up a Buster Lock, that's fine. But like my list will lock you out of activating spell cards and preventing you from going in your extra deck. And I would have Dean Gearsu protection, and I would have counter traps, which means I play around Spear Mode. With Adamanticators, Spear Mode for the Appaloosa, the Borload Savage, and the Arclight. All they've got left is IP Masquerade and Block Dragon. You know what I'm saying? But like with the Pendulum board, Spear Mode was not enough. I'm telling you, especially when times where you just didn't have enough monster zones to keep playing. That's how it happens sometimes with this deck. When I'll combo off, I still couldn't resolve Magister and Scale. I still couldn't resolve, you know, Destrudo and Grave. There'd be times where I haven't resolved Servant yet, but my field's full. I can't do anything else. So it was that broken where you just could keep going, but because each combo required so many monster zones and so much space, you just had too much sauce, literally. Like, you just couldn't resolve everything you wanted to. That's how broken this deck was. But yeah, you guys, God bless you guys. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Jesus. Thy kingdom come, and thy will be done on earth just as it is in heaven. Please give us this day our daily bread, Lord, and please forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, Father, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the glory, and the power forever. In the mighty name of Jesus I pray. Thank you, Father. Amen. All right, you guys, deuces is wild.